The Briarcrest Hotel had no advertisements, no website, and no address that appeared on modern maps. Hidden beneath towering pines where fog clung to the earth like mourning cloth, it waited for travelers who were never quite sure how they'd found it. The lobby smelled of old cedar, mildew, and extinguished candles. Every clock had stopped at 4:04. Elias was the first to arrive. At 31, he possessed the quiet appearance of a man who preferred forgotten places over crowded cities, and his grey eyes carried the exhaustion of someone who had spent years chasing stories no one believed. He wore a long charcoal overcoat over a black turtleneck, dark wool trousers, polished leather boots, and weathered brown gloves. The muted colors gave him an almost ghostly elegance, blending naturally with the hotel's faded grandeur. Soon after came Nora. 29, she had sharp green eyes that rarely missed details. Copper-red hair rested just above her shoulders beneath a cream-colored knitted beanie. Unlike Elias, Nora dressed for practicality. A forest green jacket, faded blue jeans, hiking boots caked with dried mud, and a canvas backpack filled with notebooks and camera equipment. She laughed easily, though tonight her smile seemed strangely restrained. The receptionist handed them brass keys. "There are only 23 rooms available," the elderly woman said softly. "Is the hotel always this empty?" Nora asked. "It depends." "On what?" The old woman's cloudy eyes drifted toward the staircase. "Who dreams?" Before either traveler could ask another question, the entrance doors opened once more. A young man stepped inside. Lucas looked no older than 26. Dark curls framed his pale face, while round glasses constantly slid down his nose. He wore an ordinary grey hoodie beneath a navy jacket, black jeans, and white sneakers stained by rainwater. A messenger bag hung from one shoulder, stuffed with books whose corners poked through the zipper. He apologized for arriving late. The receptionist simply handed him the final key. "Sleep lightly." The first night passed beneath relentless rain. Wind moaned through cracked windows. Somewhere inside the walls, pipes clicked like distant footsteps. None of the guests slept peacefully. Lucas dreamed. He wandered a corridor that stretched impossibly long beneath flickering amber lights. The numbered doors appeared in perfect order. Then, the brass numbers gleamed as though freshly polished. The door slowly opened by itself. Someone inside whispered, "Please don't come back." Lucas woke with a scream. Morning should have erased the nightmare. Instead, it had built upon it. The hallway outside their rooms was different. Elias counted the doors twice. Nora unfolded yesterday's floor plan she'd sketched for fun. Neither matched reality. Beyond room 403 extended a narrow corridor none of them remembered. At its end waited room 404. Its dark oak door looked decades older than every other door in the hotel. The wallpaper surrounding it rippled gently despite the still air. Lucas stared. "I dreamed this." No one answered. Together, they approached. The closer they came, the colder the hallway became, until every breath escaped in pale mist. The smell changed too. Old disinfectant, wet soil, fresh blood. Lucas pushed the door open. Inside sat a man on the edge of the bed. He looked up. It was Lucas, 1 year older. His face was gaunt, his eyes hollow from endless sleepless nights. He wore simple everyday clothes, a faded black t-shirt, worn jeans, and scuffed running shoes. Every inch of exposed skin bore injuries that made no sense. Deep claw marks crossed his arms. Purple bruises wrapped around his neck like invisible hands had strangled him. One wrist bent unnaturally, while dried blood darkened the collar of his shirt. Yet none of the wounds appeared fresh. They looked lived in, survived. His body trembled from exhaustion rather than pain. "You opened it." His voice cracked. "I prayed you wouldn't." The younger Lucas couldn't speak. Nora stepped forward. "Who did this to you?" The older man ignored her. His terrified eyes never left his younger self. "You have to stay awake." "What?" "No matter what happens." His breathing became frantic. "Don't fall asleep again." Elias frowned. "Why?" The older Lucas slowly pointed upward, not at the ceiling, beyond it. "It's learning your dreams." Silence settled over the room. Then came a faint sound. Tap, 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 from inside the walls. The tapping spread. Left, right, above them, below them. Hundreds of tiny knocks answered one another throughout the hotel. The wallpaper began to swell as though something enormous crawled beneath it. Nora backed toward the door. "We need to leave." The older Lucas shook his head. "You can't." His eyes filled with tears. "It already knows your faces." The lights blinked once when they returned. The older Lucas was gone. Only fresh blood remained on the mattress. Then every clock in the hotel chimed together. 4:04. The room door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed the hallway. Somewhere nearby, a bedroom door slowly opened. Then another, and another. Soft footsteps echoed beyond the walls. Not approaching, waiting. When morning finally arrived, Elias and Nora found themselves alone in the lobby. The receptionist calmly polished the counter. "Where's Lucas?" Nora demanded. The old woman looked confused. There has only ever been 2 guests. Elias reached for the register. His own signature. Nora's signature. Nothing else. He looked up. Someone else checked in. The receptionist smiled with quiet sympathy. "No." She gently closed the book. "He checks in tomorrow." That evening, despite gallons of coffee and desperate conversation, both travelers felt sleep creeping over them like cold hands. Just before Elias's eyes closed, he heard a familiar voice whisper from somewhere beyond the wall. Not older, not younger. His own. "Don't dream about the room." Outside, at the far end of the hallway, wood groaned softly, as though a new door had just appeared.